Hi everyone, I am Sharada Mani, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce. Today we discussed about liquidators and their roles. Okay, let's see. Liquidator. Liquidator is appointed to the liquidation assets and it is appointed by the court. Unsecured creditors or shareholders of the company. He may deals with the company asset to pay off the outstanding debits. Okay, liquidator is a licensed professional. He is typically an insolvency practitioner, accountant, or lawyer appointed by the oversees the winding up of a company affairs when it is being resolved or declared bankrupt. The primary goal to ensure a fair and orderly conclusion by converting asset into a cash to settle debt. The core roles and responsibilities is the liquidator act as an independent representative of the company, representative of a company and its shareholders. Asset management, the first one is asset management, her role. Uh, he may identifying, taking control of, and valuing all the company asset, both tangible and intangible. The next one is asset realization. It is a selling company property and asset, though public authentication or private contact to generate cash. The debit settlement, verifying and consolidating claims from the creditors, then distributing proceeds in a strict order or of priority established by law. Investigation, examination the company financially history to identify the case of the failure and any potential misconduct such as fraudulent or wrongful trading by the directors. The next one is legal representation, bringing or defining lawsuits on behalf of the company and managing any ongoing legal claims. The next one is alternate administrative duty. He may maintain the detailed of books, filling regular progress report with the regulatory bodies like insolvency and IBBI works, or companies houses, and covering meeting with shareholders. Okay, the main role of the liquidators are: the first one is valuation of asset, the next one is sale of asset and debit recovery, payment creditors and reporting. In the role of liquidator is the entire process of liquidation. Voluntary liquidator is dependent on the liquidator. The liquidator has been given significant powers because powers and responsibilities coexistence. The liquidator bears both legal and moral responsibilities. The liquidator major powers and duties is additionally to complying with the act, rules and regulation, including the following. The first one is inviting, verifying and settling all the creditors' claims, taking custody and control of assets, including actionable claims, measuring the asset and preparing reports. The next one is protecting and preserving assets. The carrying on the serious business for its beneficiary liquidation, selling assets and realizing actionable claims. The next one is parties of winding up of a company in liquidator roles is the business creditors of the company holding debentures may or may not have appointed by the trustee, and the shareholders are contribution to the companies who own fully paid shares and unpaid debits of cognitive or prospective creditors. The registrator and the liquidators as a person to authorized by the state or the federal government. The liquidation may be the liquidator may be applied to the court for the release of the duties once the conditions are met. The first one is all the company's assets have been realized, that is, all assets have been sold and converted to the cash. The next one is the investigation into a winding up proceeding have been completed and a final dividend has been paid to creditors to settle debits. The liquidator will notify the company creditors and contribution among the summary of the relevant recipients and payments in the liquidation of his intention to apply the court for release from his duties as a liquidator. Any creditors or contributory has 21 days from the date of notice to object to the proceed release and the of the liquidator. The following recipient of the court orders for release the liquidator will file a certificate of release of liquidator with the registered company. The company will be dissolved for 2 years after the certificate of release of the liquidators is failed. And the types of liquidation and the liquidator appointment term is the compulsory liquidation and members voluntary liquidation, shareholders, yeah, solvency company choose to winding up often the retirement restructuring. Creditors voluntary liquidation, that is based on the creditors. The insolvency company and voluntarily enters the liquidation to maximize the creditors. The legal powers are under the under the Companies Act 2013. The Insolvency Act is the Insolvency Act and the liquidators have board authority, including carrying on the business temporarily if it helps achieve a better sales value, changing the transaction made just before insolvency that unfairly performed certain creditors or were unvalued, applying for dissolution once the asset liquidated and proceed distribution of the either. During the insolvency process, the role of the liquidator is critical. The first one is appointment and powers of the liquidators. The liquidator appointed by the court or the creditors to take the control of the company's asset and manage the liquidation process. The next one is the investigation of the company affairs. The liquidator is required to investigate the company affairs, including financial position, assets, liabilities, and transaction, lending up to the liquidation. They must position asset availability. So the next one is realizing the company's asset. One of the liquidator main duties to realize the company's asset and distribute the proceeds of the creditors. So thank you for watching.